My name is Bailey Ipock, and welcome to my first episode of Bang for Buck Racing. Behind me, I have my '07 WRX wagon that is all-purpose built for autocross, track days, and time attack. And I am happy to announce that I will be attending my biggest event next month at Super Lap Battle at Circuit the Americas. I had to apply and get approved, and I'm really excited to be running this event. So let's just get into it. So my goal for Bang for Buck Racing is, I seem to think that there's a misconception that motorsports are just too expensive for most people to do, but that's not necessarily the case. I do it for relatively cheap compared to most people, maybe especially at time attack events and maybe even some autocross events and stuff. There's definitely people out there with double the amount of money into their builds compared to mine, and I still do relatively well. Now, I'm not claiming to be some expert racer or anything like that. I have the all know-how knowledge to make you the best, but I've been doing this for quite a while, and I think I have good information to help you get you started and to the intermediate level. So my experience, I grew up go-karting. I started around 9, 10, just kind of wherever we are going, from different track to different track. And even at a young age, I was starting to put down competitive times when going out with my dad. As I grew a little bit older, I think I was 12 at the time, I started in shifter karts, and that was extremely overwhelming at the time, because it was just so significantly fast, especially for like that age. The kart got up to like 90 miles an hour. But I did that for about a year or two, and then just continued doing karts. And so I've been doing karts for quite a long time, and that's where all of my track experience and cornering and gauging and depth perception and everything started. So after all the years and experience of go-karting, starting from a young age, now at either K1s or other electric places or gas-powered places, I will roughly be half a second to a second off from the fastest track time at that track. And actually last year at K1 San Diego, I was ranked 5th for the fastest time overall for the year. And the funny thing about it is I had gone consistently to that K1, maybe once a month for a year and a half. And then I moved away, and I've been here in Texas for about 7 months now. We went back to visit, and I just did one visit at the K1, and I went and beat my previous time by 2/10, and that's what put me in the number 5th position of the year. I was pretty happy with it. It just goes to show, because I had been still autocrossing here in Texas, and I'd probably done about 6 or 7 events, and just seat time, just it makes a difference. Now I've been autocrossing for just about 3 years, and I started out pretty slow, but now I'm in a fairly competitive class of street modified, and at my last region in San Diego, I was doing fairly okay, mid-pack. It was SM's a pretty big money class, so for the amount of money I had in compared to other people in SM, I was doing relatively well. So in the channel, I will be making other videos, more related to one component of the car as I go. I'll talk about tires, I'll talk about brakes, I'll talk about suspension, I'll talk about, what mods I think are the most important mods and kind of in concession on where you should go, to try and pretty much monotonize your money and spend it the best you can. If there's one mod that is going to, make a bigger difference than another mod, and they cost the same, it's better to spend, that whatever, 100, 200, 300 bucks on this other mod that should take priority over the other one. Because the majority of us we're all budget racers. And, if we want to, we're always trying to save money, and you're shopping on deals on Craigslist or on Facebook sale page, you're driving 2 to 4 hours. I did that for sure for my first 2.5 years, finding suspension parts and used tires and rims and whatever I could to save myself some money as I went. Just like anything on the internet today, there's just an abundance of information, and it's really hard to decipher what is valid and what is not valid. Maybe you're doing a mod to your car, you follow it step by step, and then of course there's like a part in there that wasn't there, or a bolt, or some kind of step that you have to, fill in the blank. And as goes with anything. So my suggestion is, if you're going to get into motorsports, the best place to get your advice from is from no shit people who are out there with race proven results. People who are at the top of your class in autocross, people at the top of your class at time attack, or maybe you go to a track day and you see someone who's running 6-7 seconds faster than you. Those are the people that you need to be asking for advice, and not all on forums and internet. And it can just get really watered down, and it's better to get it straight from the source. Boom, I see that guy, he's out there, he's killing it, he's doing a great job. That's what I want to ask. Be humble. And most motorsports enthusiasts are extremely humble, and they love to share information with you. Like when I got into autocross, so I had karting experience, but I didn't have experience setting up and building a car. At my local San Diego region, I ran into a guy named Peter Bollenbecker, who has a beast of an 07 STI, so pretty similar to mine, just mine's a wagon, and his was pushing roughly 500 plus horsepower, fully built suspension, everything done to a whistle, and he's running on slicks. And he was out there killing my times when I first started by maybe 10-12 seconds, roughly about 3 years-ish ago. And I was like, man, this is the guy I need to be talking to. And so that's what I did. I just went up to him, we started talking, we started messaging on Facebook, and then it just started to snowball. As I progressed, I just kept asking him this. When we discuss this, we talk about that, when we talk about the rules. And personally, I don't think I'd be where I am today in motorsports without his help, So thank you, Peter. Now, I know when it comes to autocross, there's a lot of people who tend to kind of hate on it, parking lot racing, whatever. They think, it's not worth it, it's not the real deal, they're street racers, or they do canyon runs, or etc., etc. Honestly, autocrossers are great drivers, and I even think, maybe from track day seeing people, or even the time attack people, they kind of look down on autocross, but it's all about natural progression, and autocross is a great place to start. I personally believe if you learn to maximize G's at low speed corners between maybe 20 and 50 miles an hour, that it's going to give you a great foundation for when you go to the actual track and are setting up for these big sweepers or hairpins or chicanes, whatever. Autocross is a great place to start and build that knowledge, and just get seat time, and it's so cheap. Poor man racing, it's most autocross events will roughly cost you between 30 to 50 bucks, normally around right in the middle, 40, and you'll roughly get 6 runs that day, and maybe they'll run it back to back, 6 runs one day, 6 runs the next day. Or like the San Diego region would sometimes do practice days, and you'd pay like 35, 45 bucks, do 10 runs on Saturday, and then Sunday they would reverse the course, and then it would be 4 runs for the champ day. Also, another thing that tends to happen, I used to see it almost every event, is you'd see these the normal car enthusiast who goes out there and they build a car, and it's fast, and it's got a big turbo, it's got a front mount, and it's got suspension components on everything, and they expect that they're going to be just top dog, the shit, and then they get absolutely embarrassed by like a Miata, and then they never want to come back, and so when you're going to these autocross events, you got to enter them with an open mind and be humble and realize, like, I don't actually know how to handle my car yet, even though you think you might. 9 out of 10 times you probably don't, because you're not really out there pushing corner speed like you are at autocross. Roughly at autocross, almost every corner I'll pull between 1.5 to 3 Gs. And you know, that's especially up in the 3G mark on, you know, carrying 3 Gs of lateral Gs and the car not giving out or just starting to barely give, but you're keeping it in. It takes a lot of work. Yeah, reading the course can be extremely tricky. And me personally, I feel like when you learn to read an autocross course, because at most regions, the autocross course changes every event. So it's never going to be the exact same thing over and over. There might be similar features in the course from the previous event, but it's all, you know, it's going to be a chicane followed by a slalom, followed by a hairpin, or, you know, a different left, a different right. It's never going to be the same thing. So you're always just going to have to get, you know, 1 or 2 tries. You walk the course and try and find what you think is the best line. And then on a championship day, you know, you get 4 runs. So you get to walk it once or twice. You come in, you run your 4 runs, and, you know, that's it. So it can be pretty challenging at times. So I personally believe if you can learn to read an autocross course well, it will travel and carry great weight going on to actual courses where you're running consistent same laps and a track you can come back to and keep gauging. So after I had ran Global Time Attack as a Christmas gift for me and my dad back in 2017, I paid for a track day for both of us at Streets of Willow, which is a total blast. It's not a huge course, but it's fun, it's quick, it's got some good corners. And we had to start out in the white group or blue group. I think those are the 2 beginner groups, and you know, we quickly both showed that we belonged in a faster group. So after, you know, I ran 1, they bumped me up to 1 below the advanced class, and I ended up actually putting down about, I think, the 8th fastest time for the entire track. You know, 100 some people that showed up to this track day, I put down the 8th fastest time, even with mixed in with some of the guys from the advanced group. You know, so that goes to show that, you know, that all started with autocross, and I think that is the best place for anyone to start if they want to get into motorsports and learn about their builds and, you know, do it at a really good, cheap price starting off, and then just the natural progression as you get faster and faster. Your car gets more dialed in, and then you can, maybe after a year or so, maybe 6 months, maybe some will take longer, you can start, you know, feasting your eyes on the bigger things and track days and then time attack and then so on. And, you know, it all starts from there. So I appreciate everyone coming by, checking out the channel. If you enjoyed what I said and you think in the future I'm going to bring you better information that you want to hear, you know, hit that subscribe button so you get notifications every time I put out a video. If you have any questions, I will gladly answer them all. Just throw it down in the comment below. And you all have a good night.